let's go.
Let's go. Guys, our Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of truth and the power of honest conversation. We lift you up, the Straight Talk Report, to you today, its hosts, team, and every listener who tunes in with a hunger for clarity and understanding. Bless this show with wisdom and discernment. Let its words reflect the truth, integrity, and courage. Guard the hearts and minds of its hosts, that they may be humble, speak boldly, always seeking what is right and just. May every listener be uplifted, informed, and inspired. Let this platform be a light in confusion, a voice for the voiceless, and a space where truth prevails over noise. Let the farmers have the strength to say no when somebody invades their land and wants to do things to them that they don't need to do. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Folks, believe it or not, it's just part of the show. We got to make sure that's taken care of. But this is another part of the show we've got to do. This is called the disclaimer. Welcome to hhgradio.com, where the microphones are hot, the coffee is strong, and the opinions are even stronger. Before we dive in, a friendly warning. The views and opinions you're about to hear belong to the host, the guest, and sometimes even a caller who forget they were live. They do not necessarily reflect those of hhgradio.com, or sponsors, or your overly sensitive cousin on Facebook. Some content may cause critical thinking, raised eyebrows, spontaneous laughter, or an uncontrollable urge to yell at your speakers. If you're easily offended, love censorship, or think free speech is dangerous, you might want to just buckle up. This is uncensored, unfiltered, and occasionally uncomfortable radio. We call it honest. You might call it risky. Either way, listen at your own risk. Now let's get ready to light the fuse.
That's right.
So, folks, welcome. If you've never tuned in before, I've got some housekeeping chores to do. First off, if you are on our homepage, if you click on or just hover your mouse above the home on the menu, you'll see that there is a live feature. We even have a few people who are signed in already. If you click on the live feature, basically they ask for you to prove that you're human, but you can chat to us during the show. And because of the guest we have tonight is so powerful, a whistleblower if nothing else.
Yes, sir.
We're going to be bringing her in shortly. You might want to just, make some notes. But what you have to understand about this particular show and all the shows that we produce here, we're really pushing forward to fact and truth-based production. That's what we're trying to do. So our guest, as our tech guy comes in, our producer, our magic producer, are you doing something that I don't know about?
Click the X on that.
Which X?
On the screen. What says settings? You see that X?
This one?
Yes.
Click that one?
Ellen can't get in because her miking camera operates.
No. So we have a problem before we even get started.
What's the matter?
She's connected to the box, but her miking can't be not work on her phone. It even tells me on my side.
Oh my. So we have a tech problem before we even get started. So why don't you call her? Because we have some stuff to go through, but we'll figure out an answer one way or another. So here's the gist of it. At the end of the day, we have a special guest that's coming in. And sorry, before I forget. So if you want to participate in chatting with us, by all means, sign into the chat board and we will get you into the equation. That makes sense? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. That takes care of the first part. Second part, maybe you don't want to chat. You just want to send us your comments. Click on the contact us link, and that's exactly where you'll find all of the how to reach us. That's pretty on the air at hheradio.com. We get those emails as we move. Ellen's having a bit of an issue getting
through.
tuned in, so we'll get some things actually covered before we go too far. See, folks, here's the thing. This is the true launch of our new media, and it is a truth and integrity, the transparency of freedom.
Truth, man. We want the truth.
So when we were talking about developing this as a launching component, here's the deal. In order to be fair, we've got to be impartial. But it's hard to be impartial when you're getting cheated, or you feel like you're being cheated.
That's right.
So we want to open this up to anybody, regardless of your political leanings, and give you a chance to communicate your opinion. We'll discuss it. And I think the fairest thing for a media component is when we discuss it, it's just people will come to their own conclusion.
That's right.
And that's what's missing from traditional media. The facts, well, it's one-sided interpretation. We just want to present it to you. We want to bring it forward to you because it's so powerful that we need to have a solution.
We want you to hear both sides, not just one side.
So this morning, we reached out to every sitting member of the legislature. We reached out to every single constituency association, and we reached out to every municipality in the province. Let that sink in just for a second. And we've offered all of them an opportunity to share their information with us, rebut some of the commentary that we've got before us. But what do you think? Is that the fairest way to keep things?
You got everybody invited.
Okay, so
if they would like to come and leave some comments or talk or learn what the people are thinking, this is the place.
yeah. Okay, so the real punchline that we've got to go through is that let's say you're for separation. There's lots who are. There are those who don't. Well, we want to present both parts, both sides, so you can come to your own decision. Do we have an agreement or a disagreement? Like, maybe. I mean, I have my opinion. But if we just present both sides of the information and ask questions, that would be how...
That's democracy.
That's democracy. And we've had some instances recently where democracy has not been doing very well.
In the last 10 years.
So what we find is a lot of these podcasts that go out, they're designed to inform you without a doubt. There's lots of them, there's tons of information. The problem is there's no solution. And that's what we want to have, is we want to have, I'll give you an example. Classroom size. Now, it's been an issue since I was a kid. That's based on these gray whiskers, and some of those too. That's been a long time ago. Some classes are over 40 students. Wow. Apparently, the math says the optimum is between 20 and 22. But let's just say the issue is classroom sizes are too big. So I'll just ask you, is there any other answer that exists on the planet in our current state of the world? If there are too many students, you need more classes?
More classrooms.
That's it.
Put some trailers.
There's no
Find
more
some
answers.
trailers out. You can change them out every 5 years, whatever. But get them something comfortable. It's unacceptable.
So I guess that's the part that we want to bring forward to you, the listener, is most of the problems that we think exist aren't that complicated. And it doesn't matter if it's the NDP, the UCP, the problems are easy to deal with for the most part. But those problems that are easy to deal with, those are the issues that I think most citizens in Alberta are faced with.
They're not being dealt with easily.
Healthcare. Sorry, but wait times, ambulance
16,
times,
18 hours in a
emergency.
well, yeah. 6 hours used to be a long time.
And
It's unacceptable.
but the budgets keep going up. So it's not like we're saving money by having longer wait times. So
Somebody's filling their pockets.
well, I mean, that's what the thing is that people just expect, oh, you're coming up with a conspiracy theory. The thing is that what else we can't trust sorry. If there's any question out there, politicians are not trusted. Maybe a number of years ago they were. Not recently, not in 20 or 30 years. They're not trusted for a reason. That reason is they didn't earn it. And in some cases, they're not respected. You have politicians, oh my God, he's the, sitting MLA or this city bureaucrat. Oh, no sound, no picture. Well, try this one. Well, we're trying. A city bureaucrat. Sorry, folks, but that city bureaucrat has no more respect than any other politician because there's just too many wrong things going. All right, so let's continue with that concept. If the answer is so black and white, have too many students in a classroom, you need another class. Easy answer isn't building more schools. You don't just write a big check and drop X number of $1 million on it. How about the CCANs, the ATCO trailers? They have them up in the oil patch. They go together in a weekend. You could have 3 floors high with power, heat, air conditioning, school boards, washrooms, all in set up basically in a long weekend.
Easy.
So again, tell me why we don't have enough classrooms. Why are we having so many children paying the price for not having the optimum learning in this Alberta, a free, logical, wealthy province?
Very wealthy. The streets of Alberta should be paved in gold by now. No question.
All right. So
The streets in Alberta should be paved.
well, that's another thing. The street should be paved. And whose responsibility is that? The municipality?
Municipalities, cities, towns, councils, all of them.
So let's just assume the municipality is doing wonderful work. And you, because we reached out to every municipality. You want to know how you're judged? Ask the citizens what the condition of the roads are. Do you have a lot of power outages? Do you have a lot of internet downage? Because that's the infrastructure they're supposed to take care of with your tax dollars. No offense, but the roads, the infrastructure, all this stuff comes well before the new arena or the $500,000 dog park, which is about the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
How about 1.2 million like they try to do in Chestermere for a dog park?
So folks,
That's a future guest who's going to talk.
yeah, we're gonna be talking about some, but folks, it's just a waste. It makes no sense, and we need to stop it. And that's the purpose behind this particular media. Truth, fact. And we should also add this as a disclaimer. As our listeners, our viewers, our followers, if you're hearing maybe something that doesn't make sense, it doesn't sound right, and you think it's that we could be wrong, it will happen someday. It's not today, but one day.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Well, but it's possible.
It's about as possible
So it's funny because
for you.
well, it's possible. Let us know. I'll take on a different perspective, but I've driven a lot of the province in the last couple of years, and the roads are horrible.
Horrible. In the city, in Leduc, my hometown, potholes you could lose a Honda Civic in. No question.
You know what's really funny?
What's that?
Because I look at this our screen, and it's reversed. It's
We're
mirrored.
backwards.
When we're backwards.
We're upside down, inside out.
Anyways, I didn't quite know that was going to take place. Anyways, so if the answers are so easy and so obvious, why are they allowed to keep happening?
It's because we let them keep doing what they're doing. We need to replace the people that are doing it with people that aren't going to do it.
Okay,
Plain and
so
simple.
you heard basically what the punchlines for everything that we're going to go through, not just in tonight's show, but in ongoing shows. It's to accomplish a solution. There's so many things that are going on and have gone on in the last number of years, and your emotions are being pulled and attacked and brought forward, but there's no solution. And we think most of the solutions are easy. They're not complicated. I'll give you an example. We need more doctors. We're not even going to talk about the immigration. That'll be a conversation for a different day. Okay. We need more doctors. So if you can kind of see that we have more need for doctors coming in, you would assume they would add more seats into the schooling system.
Exactly.
Okay. You're giving me that look about, yeah, I assume you.
Yeah,
Dumbass.
well, no, you could bring more doctors in that are already graduated.
You could.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
But get the kids in the school, get them through 4 or 5, 6 years, 7 years of schooling. I think they start practicing and like literally practicing in the field before they get through their 7 years. Probably 4 years they're in the field working, and get them finished and get them into a community that's a little bit out of the ways. For it, give it to them free. They don't need to pay for that kind of stuff here in Alberta. My God, what's the matter with these people? You charge them, you keep them broke for 20 years, paying back their tuition, and nobody's happy. Give them their schooling, 5 years, 6 years of schooling. You're going to work for 6 years. Where we tell you to work, you're still going to get paid. You're not going to get paid in a regular amount of money. You're going to, you know what I mean? You got to pay some of it back, right? But get into a community like Manning or up in Zama or something for 4 or 5 years or 3 years, then move to another community. Just move around a bit. When your 7 or 8 years is up and you're done, sign up for another couple of years of school.
So,
or just go start your own practice.
So I guess what we're trying to push, at least from our perspective, is here's some interesting information. Prior to last year, I think it was, the University of Alberta had 325 seats. Of the 325 seats available to come in as entry level for the university medical program, half of them were foreign students. Before you start, they're foreign students intending to go home, not continue medication or medical practice in Canada. Of the graduating class of, we're good. Or can I turn my mic down on my? We're solving problems. In case you're wondering, folks, we're solving problems on the fly.
Show number 1.
Can I turn this down now? That's my mics. Just leave them there. Can you hear us really well?
Everybody can hear you.
Okay, so we'll keep going. So-
if you want to invite her in, just mouse. Just click on the stage when we're ready.
Oh, we're ready. We're going to get her ready like really fast.
Can you hear me?
We
Hey.
can. Just hold on 2 seconds. I got to get through all the basic stuff, but I got to wrap this up real quick. So what we want to do is we take a look at the U of A, the medical stuff, and 325 seats. Half of them are foreign students. Half of them are leave right to the States right away. And there's students replacing those who are retiring or our population growth, let alone solving the problem that we have with the shortage of medical professionals. We suggest an intern program so that the graduating students, first off, we suggest they open up more classrooms, which they're just slowly starting to do now.
Yep.
But we also suggest an intern program. We'll give you your doctor education for free in exchange for working in a smaller community
Here.
in Alberta. Don't go anyplace else, but they have to go elsewhere because of our taxes, because of the cost of living, in the US paid in American dollars. It's much better when you're carrying the kind of student loans that these guys are graduating with. It makes no sense, but we'll pitch that one on later. So I think we bought enough time. Do you think so?
Ellen's here.
Is Ellen?
We got her face.
I'm here. How's my volume?
The volume for us,
Volume's
we
great.
can hear you really good.
And I can hear you perfectly as well. I'm on my computer now, not on my phone.
Okay. So we have your audio, but we don't have your video.
I'm not putting it up.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Guess we don't get to look like beautiful, beautiful home today.
All right. So
Thank
just
you.
just to introduce Ellen Alston to our audience. Ellen used to teach at the University of Toronto. She's been in business in Calgary for over 41 years, both in estate planning and tax planning as well. And I labeled you today as a whistleblower, Ellen. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hi, Kirk. Hi, Reddog.
Hi, baby.
How are you guys?
Awesome.
I like
So-
your shirts. You match.
We just came back from Mexico. It was like a 3-hour
Okay.
round trip.
Did you guys plan to dress the same today?
No, not at all.
No, that's funny, actually. But he copied me with my white whiskers. He's trying to catch up. These young people, you know.
I love it.
Anyways, listen, you're here for a reason because, I mean, and unfortunately, I called you a whistleblower for a reason. You got some things to tell us about.
Yes, I do.
So, where do you want to start?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me back. I really enjoyed our last show, and I received a lot of feedback from it.
Awesome.
I don't know if you guys did, but I sure did.
What kind of
Turns
feedback
out-
did you get?
Sorry?
What kind of feedback did you get?
Really interesting. All positive. Wow. And looks like corruption in the Alberta government is a pretty sensitive subject.
Mm-hmm.
And I was urged by the people that contacted me from our last show to come back on and give more information and supply documented backup. So here I am.
Well, thank you very much for joining us.
I sent you 19 documents to put up on your system for reference. Did you get them?
We did, and they'll be going up shortly.
Okay. People don't need them now. I'll just make a reference when I talk about them, stating that what I am saying is documented. And that's what the feedback that I got was, hey, you've got a lot to say. What have you got to prove it, right?
It'll be on the site when you're done.
Sorry, Reddog?
It'll be on the site as soon as you're done here. We'll get them uploaded, baby.
Right. Okay, since we last talked on your last show, lots happened to us. We've been contacted by a movie maker videographer that wants to do a documentary on our environmental issue and non-compliance to the law by the UCT government. We'll be distributing it across Canada and the US. We'll then set up a speaking tour, so I'm pretty excited.
Good.
We were asked by CBC to do a documentary on our environmental issue a few years ago. We backed off because we didn't have all the documentation that we now have. You've got to back up every statement that you make. It's the right time now. We're connected to the right people, politicians and environmentalists that we'll be seeing in Ontario and Quebec. We will offer this movie to the CBC and Global. But don't worry, Kirk and Reddog. I commit to speak with you and or give you assistance whenever you wish.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just a phone call away. So to set the stage today, I'd like to start with an article that was printed July 3, 2025. That's document 1 when you put them up. It was by a guy by the name of Derek Fildebrand of the Western Standard. I read them a lot. They're pretty good. He wrote on Peter Guthrie and Scott Sinclair, the two MLAs who were voted out of the UCP caucus for questioning the narrative. They simply asked for financial accountability. On the third page of that article, which I found really interesting, Fildebrand stated, The major thrust of criticism from Guthrie and Scott and Sinclair is at corruption in the UCP around alleged misdeeds in healthcare. Remember that?
Yeah.
It was all over the news. Maybe there is widespread corruption in the UCP, he writes. Maybe. But do we know there was? I don't even have to say it, he says. What we found in our research is that not only is our UCP government not doing the job that they were elected to do, they seem to break the law and use law enforcement and the courts to silence the truth.
What do you mean?
I'll get to it. Give me a minute. We've got thousands of pages of documents to prove this systemic corruption and criminal conduct by the UCP. That's what I'm going to give you today. Today, I'm going to give documented information on the big picture. And I started that on the last show. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Of the breach of the law and election fraud interference by the conservative government. And last but not least, but most importantly, as you said to me, I'll outline opportunities for solutions because we got to have solutions. Firstly, let me answer the question, because I got asked this a lot. Why should we have these discussions now or even bother to have them at all? There's so much going on, right? Look at the news. There's a lot of deflection out in the media today, away from the misdeeds of the Alberta government. This includes attacking the federal government. Look at everything that's on Carney. Pipelines to Ontario, etc. Separation and or joining the USA. All over the media. Make no mistake, this is a deflection movie. The answer to why we need to talk about what's happening in our Alberta government is, no matter what direction the Smith takes on, separation, pipeline deals, we'll still have a corrupt government in Alberta. We've got to do something about it. Nothing's changed for decades of conservative UCP government. I sent the Smith government a report entitled Decades of Corruption by the Alberta Conservative UCP Government, identical with documentation to the Trudeau Liberal government. You think they would come back and say something. There was no response from them. It is still the same today as it was decades ago, if not worse. And that's what we found. We can't do anything about what is happening federally. Let's face it. Everything for solution stops at the Ontario border or about separation. We can, however, do a lot to change what's happening in our Alberta government to help we, the Alberta citizens.
Okay.
So how did we connect all the dots and find all the documentation supporting our statements? I'll give a real quick background like I did in the last podcast for people who didn't hear me. I and my husband, Les Fetchy, had an environmental issue that we researched over 15 years. It started in 2008, if you can believe it. The MD of Foothills owned a horse riding facility on land. The land was located directly across and on a watershed that contaminated our rural property. We almost died. The MD of Foothills allowed the release of over 25,000 pounds of manure. Can you imagine it? Think of the pile. And 6,000 gallons of urine into the watershed every year for over 40 decades. The watershed was part of the water source for multiple properties, including mine. We supplied Alberta Environment, Health, Municipal Affairs, and the courts with over $350,000 worth of expert reports with 5 years of water tests. We proved the contamination on our property and that it came from the land owned by the MD. The government would do absolutely nothing about it. We wrote copious letters. Our property became uninhabitable. We ran for our lives. We had multiple friends down there, and they helped us. The MD of Foothills, in conjunction with the bank that held the mortgage on the property, would you believe, chlorinated the well?
Can you clarify what that exactly means?
They had their agents pour 10 liters of 12% hyperchlorine into the well a few days before the MD was going to make their tests. How did I find that out? The secretary for the lawyer for the bank by mistake sent me the report by their agents and rated. I handed it to my hydrologist, Dr. David Mans, and he just picked it up right away. There it was, pouring of 10 liters of 12% hyperchlorine. That destroyed all the evidence in the well.
But it also destroyed the water, didn't it?
Actually, well, what it does, that's a good question, Kirk. When that goes downstream, it's extremely toxic to all the people downstream. We weren't living in the house by the time we'd already had to evacuate the property because we had so much contamination on the surface water.
Yeah.
Once they'd done that, the MD repossessed the property through the bank and spent over $1 million. We got all of the invoices to cover up the contamination and flooding. They decommissioned the well, again destroying evidence, and sold the property to new oil owners with non-disclosure of contamination. I went down to the land titles transfer office, and I got the transfer of the land from us to the bank and the bank to the new owners. No disclosure of the contamination. That's illegal. Then the MD of Foothills gave the new owners permission to change the contour of the land to protect them from flooding so they wouldn't get the surface water. The surface water contamination almost killed my husband. The MD would not allow us to do that when we lived on the land, but they allowed the new owners to do it. The MD of Foothills just let us be flooded with contaminated water. The MD shut us down when we tried to protect our property. The MD and the courts would do nothing to enforce the law. We went into litigation against them. We wrote to multiple ministers in the Alberta government and the departments of Environment, Health, Municipal Affairs, Justice, the premiers, including Daniel Smith. We started in 2010. I've got a binder full of letters. All they did was deny the contamination existed and then said nothing. The MD hired lawyers, Brownlee LP, represented by David Pick and Drew Wilson, to lie in the courts. Lying in a court of law is fraud, admitted by the RCMP.
And just what exactly is the stuff they lied about?
They lied about the chlorination of the well, stating that the 10 liters was poured in there just to clean the instruments. No, they won't. No, it wasn't. You clean the instruments on the outside and you don't use 10 liters of 12% hyperchlorine to be able to do it. And I had a representative there watching them. They never cleaned the instruments.
Ellen, if they were going to put chloride, whatever it is, into a well on a normal basis to clean up a well, what would be the percentage on a normal basis? Is it 1%, 2%, 0.02%?
It's 1%, and with rural property, owners are recommended is take a bottle of Javex
Mhm.
and then pour the bottle of Javex and then make sure you flush out your pipes for 24 hours so you're not drinking Javex. Well, we weren't even living on the property. But then what the bank did was once they had poured in the 10 liters, which is huge, of 12% hyperchlorine, they then disconnected the well from the house by disconnecting the pitless adapter. When I had another test done and I had another set of engineers in, there was nothing wrong with the pitless adapter. The bank said that the pitless adapter was broken, so therefore they had to disconnect it. They did that so that we couldn't pipe the chlorine out of the well. But I mean, we weren't living there. And I didn't get the report from the secretary by accident until 2 or 3 weeks later. And by that time, all that chlorine would have just gone right downstream in the underground aquifer. The well was 123 feet deep, right? Then the Alberta Court of Appeal rendered a decision, and this is hard to believe, but this decision is filed at the court, stating it was okay for the Brownlee lawyers to lie to the Alberta Court of Appeal to obtain a decision.
Wow.
That's a huge error.
And that's documented.
You got it.
Wow.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Ellen, you did not just say the judge said it was okay to lie in court, did you?
Yes, I did.
That's the way it goes nowadays.
Audience, are you catching this? It's okay to lie in court.
Not for us. If we lie in court, we're going to jail.
But they haven't.
They are allowed to lie in court, Kirk. You didn't know that?
Go on. Sorry, Ellen.
Go ahead. You interrupt me anytime you want.
Thank you very much. It
Because
just
I
it
have
boggles
got-
my mind. How does that? Like there's a whole feeling that you're supposed to be following rules and there's a moral and ethical ground this judge is going to look at everybody equally on, and you're allowed to lie. Well, is that in the documentation?
No, that I wouldn't put up online, but I have it, and that will go into the documentary.
So if there's ever any
And
issues,
of course
folks, we have the evidence. Okay.
And of course, we'll have the videographer go and make a phone call to the Chief Justice, right?
Okay, keep going.
Then I spent 2 years with the RCMP, and they have like binders and binders of evidence, and they refused to lay charges, even though they had all the evidence to prove criminal negligence. And I have the law here for you, so that you can follow it. So what did that do to me? That put me on a path of research of why the Alberta government would allow this to happen. I mean, you sit back, you can't breathe. You call everybody you can, you write everybody, then you say, what the heck is going on? So here's what I found out. All the facts that I got led to decades going back to 1973. And a good friend of yours, I won't give his name, said it goes back to when he was really young, and this gentleman's quite old.
Yep.
So it leads to decades of non-compliance to environmental law is the agenda of the conservative UCP government. Let me repeat that.
Please.
All the facts, and I've got boxes of them, leads to decades of non-compliance to environmental law is the agenda of the conservative UCP government. All documentation that I have is filed with the Alberta courts. It's public knowledge. Anybody can get it.
Okay, so
With the decisions
Yep.
I went into 13 court hearings, and the decisions from those 13 court hearings are loaded up onto the CanLEAD database as precedents for other cases. And what does that prove? That proves that the decision legal database, CanLEAD, all right, for the Alberta court decisions is irrelevant.
Wow.
You're supposed to be able to use that stuff in court to your benefit. If it's irrelevant, it's irrelevant.
What's the point? Yeah.
What's the point?
You can't use them.
No.
Now, in order to connect the dots, which I'm able for my case, and other ones have been presented to you, what you got to do is not only do you get the decisions off CanLEAD, you have to get permission from the lawyers of both sides and the plaintiff and defendant to have all the filed affidavits. Now, do you think the defendants on behalf of the government are going to give you permission for their affidavits? Of course not, because that's where the lies are recorded. But I've got them for my case because they had to send me all their affidavits for me to be able to appear in court, right? Here's
Okay,
what
but
we did. Sorry.
But you did make a statement. There's something about the RCMP had the evidence, and the question became, why wouldn't they move and lay the charges?
That's a really good question, isn't it? All you have to do is call Staff Sergeant Norman Mercier, who was in charge of the investigation, and say, why didn't you lay charges? Okay. But he wouldn't tell us. He just shut the file.
That's a wait a minute.
Okay. What did we try to do to resolve this? We wrote to Catherine Fraser, Chief Justice of the Alberta Court of Appeal. She did nothing except send a letter from one of her lackeys that was in breach of legislation. And of course, I have the letter, right? Then she resigned. We wrote to J.D. Rook, the Associate Chief Justice of Queen's Bench. He wrote back, got the letter, in breach of the rules of court. And he resigned. Then we wrote to Mary Moreau, the Chief Justice of Alberta, and she had one of her staffers send us a letter, again in breach of the Alberta rules of court. And when you go through the number of years of litigation I have, boy, do you start knowing the rules of court. We provided these three people with all the evidence of the lies by Brownlee lawyers and the Court of Appeal decision. And none of them would do an investigation. Doesn't that scare you? Because it can't just be me. These actions proved, and I've got all the documents, I've probably got thousands of them, the Alberta justice system is a captured operation. Just ask Jessica Ernst. Just ask, there's a number of cases that have come to me, but I haven't got permission to put their names up for this broadcast. I'm being very very careful.
But the part that's sitting back, because I mean, as an overview, I can't imagine how a law firm in today or any era would, number one, be able to lie in court. That first boggles my mind. But there, and you are working for your client. I get it. Whether you're the prosecution or the defense, it's still you're working for your client. But they can't fabricate.
Not supposed to.
But if you lie in court, isn't that fabricating it?
Yeah.
No, that's fraud.
That's fraud. You're not supposed to lie in court.
But that's a criminal
You're
act.
supposed to go to jail.
But then the judge would know and should judge accordingly.
Yes, he should. Or she.
But that would be the principle, the foundation of the law is that, it's just, it's equal, it's. But Ellen, you're telling us it hasn't worked like that for you.
Well, here's the other thing, gentlemen, is it upset me so much that I put in formal complaints to the Alberta Law Society on the 2 lawyers from Brownlee, plus the managing partner of Brownlee, because I was writing him, saying, hey, your 2 lawyers aren't telling the truth, and here's the evidence. I wrote, put in a complaint about the lawyer for the bank because she lied to get to repossess the property. And you know what the Alberta Law Society said?
What?
Nothing to see here. Complaints dismissed.
That's an
No
idea.
investigation, nothing. Captured operation.
We have a problem.
Okay. I didn't want to think, well, I did. Is it just me? Of course you think this is just me, right?
Of course.
So yeah,
Or they're up against just me.
That's right.
So what I'm going to give the 2 of you is just 2 other examples of environmental non-compliance, and they're pretty serious ones. I've got tons of them, but I'd be here all night. The first one I'm going to give you is the Rimrock biodigester. It just happened in 23-24. I ran into a beautiful gentleman that lived out in High River. Unfortunately, he is deceased. He got cancer and died. He sent me all the documentation, which of course I have nicely filed. The owners of a feedlot out on the High River water basin called the Rimrock Feedlot are the Donnelly family, and they're quite well connected in the conservative UCP. The Rimrock Feedlot is located just upstream from High River, right on the High River water basin. That happens to be in breach of the Alberta Municipal Governance Act. We're not supposed to develop anything within a half a mile of a watershed. The feedlot is non-compliant with the Environmental Protection Act, the Municipal Governance Act, the Agricultural Practices Act, and the Health Act.
Okay, now, have you had somebody take a look to confirm?
Yep.
And that's all going to be on the website.
Sorry?
That evidence will be on the website?
Nope. Can't do it. But I have it.
Okay, fair enough.
I have a whole book on it. All I've done is given you one because as it is, Kirk, I've given you 92 pages in 19 documents. If I gave you everything, I would flood your website. But let me tell you, we have it. Or I can't make these statements.
Fair enough.
Rimrock partnered with a green company called Tidewater Renewables to build a multi-million-dollar biodigester right beside the feedlot on the High River watershed. I got the financial statements for Tidewater Renewables, and they have no track record of a profit. Now, listen to this. Amico, the Alberta Pension Fund, invested $150 million into Tidewater, but it never made a profit. That's document 2 of my enclosures. It's right there. Tidewater then turned around and invested $13 million into the biodigester. All in the documents provided to me by this gentleman who was deeply involved in trying to shut it down. The biodigester is unproven technology. There were no credible environmental studies to protect the watershed and the 14,000 residents who relied on the watershed for their water. The biodigester will need, are you ready for this? And I know you're sitting down.
Yeah, I am.
73 million gallons of water per year out of the High River water basin. 73 million gallons per year to operate. The Minister of Environment, Rebecca Schultz, stated publicly that Alberta was currently in a drought situation, but with all that information, she approved the project. And the residents of High River went crazy. I have all the articles written, screaming, went to the meetings. This beautiful man who got me the documentation cried in front of me. What's their property values going to be worth? Never mind their water supply. At the same time that the Rimrock Biodigester project was approved, listen to this. The Federal Conservative Party started an investigation into the $150 million fraudulent green fund. AMCO, just out of Alberta, put $150 million into a company, green company, with no profit. And all that was of the federal is widely publicized, but I gave you one enclosure. It's number 3. Now listen to this. Tidewater was forced to remove its website on the biodigester because it did not pass the federal anti-greenwashing rules. Note my document number 4. I've given you that. So rather than do an investigation of the Rimrock biodigester matter, the residents of High River request that as the residents of High River requested, the UCP government fired the board of AMCO and appointed Stephen Harper to be the new CEO.
Of course.
There has never been an inquiry into the finances of Tidewater that at least is happening at the federal level for the $150 million anti-greenwashing fund that the Conservatives found against the Liberals. Let that sink in.
Okay, well, I'm letting this sink in, but I'm still stuck on, can you repeat the number of gallons of water this was going to take out of basically the High River?
73 million. And there's
per
14
year?
million, and it's in a drought, and there's 14 million people down, like less than a mile away, that are depending on it for water. And Rebecca Schultz says, and there's no environmental studies to prove that the biodigester and all the additional cows aren't going to contaminate the watershed. And Rebecca Schultz says, not a problem, we approve the project. Alberta Environment had one inspector for all of southern Alberta.
Of course.
What?
Yeah. And he was in charge of the High River biodigester. And he had to do all of southern Alberta. Like it's a joke. So here's the question.
Shame on you, Rebecca Schultz. Shame.
Shame on you.
Why would the UCP government approve a dangerous, multi-million-dollar project that was detrimental to the health of 14,000 residents in High River and threatened their water supply? Why'd you do that? The answer is just as our issue.
Who?
Environmental non-compliance to the law is the agenda of the conservative UCP government. Have a nice day. Love and kisses.
Is she gone?
Okay. I got another one for you. I'm only going to do 2.
Okay.
Because, I mean, there's so many. It's a joke.
But we'll have you back on for another show. Just you have to be much more gentle than so far. Anyways, go on.
There's no environmental studies for any of the feedlots in Alberta, and that was started in 1973 by Ed Stelmach. I talked about that in the last show.
Yes.
Okay. Next and briefly, the Lochend oil and gas play just north and outside of Cochrane, where I live. Because of what was happening to me in our environmental issue, I was invited to the meetings by the rural residents that were affected. There were no scrubbers on the short stacks erected by the oil companies. The cows were getting sick and dying along with the residents. Many got cancer and died. Alberta Environment would do nothing about it.
Okay,
All that the oil companies were doing was against the Environmental Protection Act and the Health Act. We pulled out all the legislation. Okay, I've put in document 5, and it's under the Pembina Foundation. And the document I've put in there is the right to a healthy environment and documenting the need for environmental rights in Canada. I've only given you the front page. All people have to do is Google it, and up comes 40 or 50 pages. The Loch End project is the project that they discuss extensively in that report. So the question is, why did the conservative UCP government, just like mine, just like the Rimrock biodigester, refuse to do an investigation and approve the project without an investigation? The residents of the Loch End area went to the ministers of environment, health, and agriculture and their MLAs requesting an investigation and assistance. As with my issue, the Rimrock biodigester, no one in authority in the Alberta government would do anything for the residents of Loch End.
Okay. So Ellen, you and I have been down this road before. I'm just in every regulation and act under every ministry, which include environmental and municipalities, and it states almost at the very beginning of each one of these that the minister is responsible for what happens under those bureaucracies. And you're telling me with all of this information, especially Ms. Schultz, there's no environmental impact study on any of these new constructions at all?
There are some done by the owners of the projects.
Oh,
Of course.
You
Police
hand
yourself.
those to Worley Parsons and pay them. My hydrologist, who's a world renowned hydrologist, my team, of which I paid $350,000 to, those studies are a joke.
oh my Lord.
And that happens everywhere. Get Jessica Ernst from Rosebud on your show. I'll give you her phone number.
Okay.
But remember, she was the woman that she could light her water on fire?
Yeah.
That was on 60 Minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we're headed. Okay, here's the deal. The deal is that all 3 of them, multiple others, prove that non-compliance to environmental law is a well-documented agenda of the UCP government. This is simply pattern and practice of corruption. And the way you get to the bottom of it is follow the money. Who got paid?
Has anyone tried to get this information out to the public or obtain change from the government or file documents to this effect regarding these last two projects?
Hang on.
Because I would think that this would be something the public would deserve and need to know about.
I would hope so. But guess what? Our mainstream media is captured. So yes, Reddog, that's true. Let me give you some examples. Casey Madhu, our ex-attorney general in the Kenny and Smith government. Casey Madhu proposed a plan where Albertans could fire politicians.
Mm-hmm.
I've put that in the documents, Kirk. That's
Okay.
number 8. It is an article from the Calgary Sun. It's titled Madu Rolls Out Plan Where Albertans Can Fire Politicians.
This is recent.
Number 8 in the documents I sent you. I went and met the man after he had been let go, as we put it. I had a 3-hour meeting with him in his office in Edmonton. Madu informed me that he also proposed that the UCP investigate all the Alberta regulatory agencies, including the ERCB. That's what Jessica Ernst was up against. The energy resources, right? And they just killed her. The College of Physicians and Surgeons. Do an independent audit on them, Casey said. And then, of course, the Alberta Law Society. So then what happened to Casey Madu? Casey Madu was forced to resign his position as Attorney General because he'd been given a ticket. Remember this?
That speeding ticket or something.
Nope.
Distracted?
It was distracted driving going through a children's
A playground
area. And this is what I found out. There was no full investigation on it. They charged him with being on his phone in a school zone. There were no phone records to prove that he was on his phone. Now, there's phone records everywhere. Tell us, Shaw, I don't care who the hell you are. They would have the TELUS record, and nobody could produce the records. He was forced to resign his seat. And remember, they said he picked up the phone and complained to the police, the head of police. Casey told me what he did was phone the head of police and said, "What's going on? I've just been pulled over for being on my phone, and my phone's beside me. Go get the records." They did nothing. He lost his seat in the legislature in the 2023 election. So, Reddog, you're saying, is someone else tried to get the information out? You bet Casey Madu did.
Yep. I hear you.
And 4 days after my meeting with Casey Madu, the Law Society attacked him for his bar license and fined him $30,000 for a decision where there was no evidence to convict him.
Okay, well, no offense, and I'm just bringing this up. And this is the Alberta Bar Association?
Yeah. Law
Alberta Bar
Society.
Association. Let me just pass a message on to you. We're going to make it nice and easy. Like, we have lawyers who are allowed to lie in court where somebody's future is on the line, and you don't stop it. I think from a public perspective, things like Casey Madu, and maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong, but if you're not protecting the legal system and the legal process, why would we trust you, the public, to hold that Lady Justice torch up in freedom, justice, equality for all, instead of actually think that you might be a little, let's say, not as honest as you should be?
I'm going to get a hold of Casey, get him in here.
That would
Get
be
him on the
excellent.
horn.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah.
But maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong. But the evidence starts adding up in stories like this and others, because this is not the only one. And we'll ask Ellen just again to clarify. You're connecting with all these people, Ellen. Are they having any success in communication with the media to get the stories out?
Yes. I'll give you the next one. It's just
Okay.
started. Peter Guthrie and Scott Sinclair.
Hold on.
You
Ellen.
asked, are they
Two
trying to get
MLAs?
the message out? These are two
Okay.
MLAs.
Okay.
Were both voted out of the UCP
They're
caucus. Why? Because they were questioning the UCP narrative on budget issues. Now, in my area, in Cochrane, we've got two rags, and Peter Guthrie's in it all the time. All right? and the
Okay.
stories of what's going on. God bless him. I don't know about Scott Sinclair because his writing is way up higher. Okay, who else has tried to get this out here? The residents of the High River over the Rimrock biodigester. There were a few articles in the Herald and the Sun, but the reporters never asked for environmental studies or if the biodigester was proven technology or if the biodigester was in compliance to Alberta Municipal Governance Act, Environmental Protection Act, Agricultural Protection. They just did blasé. We do not have good reporting in the mainstream media. That's why podcasts now are where the news are coming from.
That would be us.
That's you guys.
That's why we're here, baby.
All right, keep shooting.
And then, of course, Arthur Pulaski. Now, God bless Arthur. He screamed loud and clear on television, in articles. He's the one who feeds homeless in Calgary and tried to keep his church open during COVID. What did they do to him? They put him in solitary confinement in jail for speaking out.
Mm-hmm.
Then we've got Dr. William Makis and Dr. Roger Hodgkins. Both these distinguished doctors tried to expose the narrative of COVID and lockdowns and vaccines that were and are still causing so many injuries. The Smith government has gone at them mercilessly.
Mm-hmm.
Makis in particular has been the victim of the UCP doing all they can to shut his cancer work down and even steal money from him. They tried to put him in jail for 83 days. Document 10.
Unless he paid the bribe.
I'm sorry?
Unless he paid the bribe.
That's right. That's
$50,000
extortion.
or $70,000 he had to pay. He went to the public to get the money to pay the bribe. They didn't lock him up because he paid the money.
That's right.
That's a fact.
That's fact. And I have it in the documents. In document 10, I'm on his Substat. And of course, he can't put anything in there that isn't true, or he'd get sued for defamation of character, which he can't afford to do.
That's right.
Then the 4 men who were jailed for being part of the peaceful demonstration, the COVID Coots demonstration. Remember those guys?
Mm-hmm.
That's widely publicized in the media. They were all over the media with other people saying, hey, we're just here peacefully demonstrating to get our country opened up. And what happened to them? One of them's still in jail.
Yeah, I was told you.
That's right. And then, of course, the Lochend residents who were silenced and abused over their exposure of the oil and gas project just northeast of Cochrane that killed their cattle and made multiple residents ill.
Did they get some kind of compensation for that?
Nope, nothing. They got nothing. One of them, head of it, I can't remember his name. I have it somewhere. I'm old, I'm blonde, and I'm from Toronto. You'll have to forgive me.
I don't know about that, but go on.
Anyway, he was a dentist, and he'd put a number of dentist clinics together throughout all of Alberta. He'd done really well. And do you remember the name? Because I can't. He was wonderful. I had lunch with him a couple of times. Anyway, it's a number of years ago. Anyway, he owned a quarter section out there, and he had pride quarter horses, and all the quarter horses were losing their hair.
Wow.
And he just threw his hand. He did so much to try and help everybody, including himself, and said, to heck with this, sold the quarter section, took all his horses and moved to Montana because you couldn't do anything. And the stacks are still out there. And what happened in that project was they were shallow wells done with fracking.
Yeah.
And they were not high producing wells. So the original owners of the project sold it to offshore investors. And of course, the offshore investors went bankrupt. And a lot of the stuff was just abandoned and is still sitting there. It's just an absolute mess. Okay, this one's huge. And I want to take a little bit of time with this because you're asking me about people trying to get it out there. I'm not the only one. The Chesterfield mayor and
Pardon me?
3 council members, Jeff
Oh,
Colvin,
yes.
okay, who Rick McIver fired without doing a proper investigation of the fiscal malfeasance of the previous council members. It's all documented in multiple media reports. All the real facts were withheld. There wasn't one proper investigative reporter. This one is of significant importance because it highlights the crack of government fiscal fraud. The real documented facts of the Chestermere issues are: once the 3 new councillors and mayor took office, they started auditing the books of the town. They were immediately blocked by the staff of the town trying to stop them at every turn. They reported the financial fraud to Rick McIver, the Minister of Municipalities, and requested a full audit. Yes, that's the same Rick McIver that refused to investigate our issue of a municipality contaminating our property. He just ignored it. Instead of doing a full audit, McIver fired illegally, without law precedent, the mayor and 3 councils, blackened their names with inaccurate information through the media, and has had them sued for inaccurate allegations of fiscal fraud on their part. Once again, just as in our case, again, the government is using Brownlee LLP to do their dirty work in court. That's called lawfare. The questions never posed are, why did McIver not investigate the financial corruption in the Chestermere books? Why did McIver fire the fall Chestermere councils illegally? And why did the whole UCP caucus vote for amendments in Bill 20, giving the provincial government the right to remove any duly elected municipal council member without due process
Wow.
and no public accountability? Here's the answer, boys. This took a while to figure out. The fiscal fraud in Chestermere budget was just the tip of the iceberg.
What do you mean?
Of fiscal budgetary fraud in all levels of the Alberta government, which would be in the billions of dollars.
Wow.
AKA Peter Guthrie and Scott Sinclair making a request for a full audit for the procurement practices in AHS. What happens to them? Gone.
But let's just nail this one down. Every single taxpayer, every citizen, every resident of Alberta who pays a tax of some kind at some level, who votes, has an opinion that the money that that's being collected, supposedly for our benefit, is being wasted. Now, I'm just going to say this nice and clear up front for everybody. If you're a politician, nobody trusts you, nobody respects you, because you keep lying to us. We keep catching you in lies. You're wasting our money. We just want to examine it. Allow us to examine where the money's going, and then we can trust you again. But as long as you keep dipping into the pocket and hiding the financial reports and not answering questions, we're going to have questions.
Let us look at it. We'll even find the people to do it free.
Imagine that.
People that are ticketed. All this stuff.
Professional.
Yeah, professional.
But no, we're not passionate. That's the whole purpose behind this particular endeavor that we're under. And for everybody who's watching, like, and I'll do it nicely, because you have to do it nicely or you get no way. I would love to get Rick McIver on the show.
Why not? Let's do it.
But I'll ask him honest, here's some things you've been addressed with, or it's been suggested that under your management have not gone properly. Can you explain to the audience why?
If he's a good, honest, God-fearing man, he should come on the show. He'll come on the show.
Yep.
Why would he not? If you got
And
he's
bring the
nothing to hide.
paperwork with you.
Yeah, well, we'll ask him for
course.
the evidence as well, and we'll post it for the public to
Mhm,
see.
mhm.
But it's not making a lot of sense that, sorry, it is making a lot of sense. What about the
ACERT.
ACERT investigation that took place out in Chestermere as well?
Oh, they're not going to do it.
Why wouldn't they do it?
You'll probably have Jeff Colvin on. He'll give you all those answers
All right.
because
Okay.
he's got the documentation, and this is going to be really interesting. My team, because I've been in estate planning and tax, I read financial statements like newspapers. We found 1.4 billion.
What?
We found 1.4 billion in fiscal malfeasance without doing the healthcare budget.
Holy smokes.
1.4 billion. Okay.
I can't
That's
even
what we
count that.
found without doing the healthcare budget, which is $26 billion. Okay. So here's the deal. If McIver had allowed a proper audit of the Chestermere books, the truth is it would have opened up a huge can of worms of government fiscal accountability at all levels.
That makes
This
sense.
would have been a huge disclosure of government-wide fiscal corruption. That's why he shut down Colvin and the three counselors that were with him. They couldn't allow that out there.
No.
It wasn't possible. All right,
No,
you
there's-
asked me.
You keep going. Yep.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm
Well,
getting tired.
No, what? A feisty one like you getting tired? I don't think so.
I'm just going to have a quick drink of water. Okay.
Okay. Because to me, Reddit,
Okay.
this is kind of explaining why it is that we're doing this program we're doing. And we're looking for the support. We have lots of stuff going on after the show
Exactly.
with Ellen that we'll keep talking about. But the reason why we're doing it is because we will reach out to Rick McIver. We will ask him to come on, and maybe there's some kind of misunderstanding we're not aware of, but we'll share it. But media is not covering the stories like this and keeping our focus on the lack of transparency or the evidence that's required.
Yeah.
Like McIver moved from municipalities to where?
Speaker
Like-
of the House.
Yeah.
They got rid of him.
But to our audience members, he didn't do anything to justify a promotion in his entire career that I'm aware of. Good guy, bad guy, I don't know. But he's never done anything to justify a promotion like that.
No.
So could it be a way? But again, because we don't trust politicians typically, you have to ask the question, is this just a way to get him out from under the spotlight and get him into something that's a little bit more hidden or he's forgotten about from the municipality's perspective? Like the land use bylaw thing should have, he should have been busy doing that all by itself before getting to Chestermere. Anyways, Ellen, sorry to interrupt. Just that what you're bringing forward is why we want to discuss it with everybody. Continue, please.
Oh, thank you. All right. Red Dog, I think you were the one that asked me, what do you mean about unlawful or criminal corruption within the Smith government? What do I mean? Okay, now I'm going to tell you. Okay. I wanted to set the scene of what's going on. First off, I'm going to start by looking at the Western Standard article. It was by Hannah. Oh God. Let me just
Spell
look at
it.
it. Hang on. Right. Hannah Ford. Okay. December 20, 2023. It is document 11 in what I've sent you. And Hannah Ford said, Smith says Ottawa won't respect the law, and that's our problem.
Hmm.
It's in the documents, okay?
Yeah.
So let's take an idea of what is really happening here in the Smith UCB government with reference to our politicians and non-compliance to the law. And what I'm going to start with, and I've put it in the documents, it's document 13. It is the Conservative Policy Declaration, okay? It is the Bible for the Conservative Party.
There was a little glitch when you talked.
yeah.
I'm going to repeat it. The Conservative Party of Canada Policy Declaration.
Yeah, it's online.
Okay.
And I've sent it to you.
Good.
And here's what they state. Lovely people. The Conservative Party of Canada believes the role of government is to protect the lives and property of its citizen. How about our life in terms of being contaminated, and the Rimrock biodigester and the Lochend people? But they're supposed to protect them. Foster an environment where individuals and private initiative can prosper. I don't even need to comment there of what's going on with taxation and the shutdown of the government. Government accountability. Peter Guthrie and Scott Sinclair questioned government accountability. That's exactly what Guthrie said, and they were voted out of caucus. Ministerial accountability. Well, get McIver on, get our Minister of Environment on, get our Minister of Health on, because we, along with the residents of the Rimrock project, the Lochend project, and the mayor and 3 councillors of Chestermere, wrote multiple letters to ministers asking for investigations and got nowhere. They then, the Conservative Declaration believes in public service excellence. When have we had public service excellence?
Oh, yes. Completely natural ingredients, of course. Yes. As I go to McDonald's to get my hamburger and fries and milkshake.
Oh my God.
Completely natural. Yes. We believe, trust me. We
I
have
told you to stop going there.
I'm a fat guy for a reason.
Doesn't
Okay.
matter. You're going to stop going there.
And here's what they say about it. The Conservative Party believes all Canadians deserve an efficient, effective, and independent professional public servants.
My turn to laugh.
Public service?
believe
Did you just say
government-
I can't believe you just said that.
Ellen, you're not supposed to tell jokes during a very serious show.
We believe the government should build upon the whistleblowing protection legislation to ensure that those who expose corruption and wrongdoing, try Guthrie and Steele, are protected from reprisals. In other words, don't vote them out of caucus.
That's in
We
there.
continue to support any measures which enhance public service effectiveness and accountability. Have a nice day. Wow.
Unreal. Wow, that's incredible. You're the
Okay,
best.
would you like the statement on sound financial management?
I love it.
That'd be good.
Let's
Yes.
hear it.
The government should continue to strengthen the internal audit and controllership functions of government, ensuring that program delivery matches the intent of the program. Spending is measured against objectives, and cost overruns are brought into the immediate attention of Parliament. We found 1.4 billion waste in justice, health, municipality, no health. We couldn't touch health, justice, environment, at municipality. Those
Ellen,
three.
Ellen, do you know what the word FUBAR means? Because that document is FUBAR. I'm not going to say what the word means, but it's FUBAR, okay?
Wait a second. No. This is Ellen is writing a script for Yuck Yucks, the comedians.
This has to be a joke.
There's
I thought you were bringing on somebody serious tonight, not a jokester.
It's on the
Ellen.
internet, and Pierre Polyev and all his team are supposed to abide by it too. And he has all my information and no comment. Have a nice day.
okay. Just before we go, from a political standpoint, just from politicians, any level, whatever, who have you given this information to up to now, politically?
Oh, thank you for asking that question.
Good question.
What a wonderful question. I've done a report called Decades of Corruption. I told you about it, by the conservative UCP, identical to the Liberal government. And I sent it to all the major ministers and Daniel Smith in November of last year.
And,
They all have
you got responses back from them saying what?
No response. That's what I got back.
Nothing. No, you know what no response means, right? Admittance of guilt. It's law. It's in the law. It's in the law. It's a lawful admittance of guilt by not responding within
No,
20
no.
within 21. I'm telling you right now, you don't respond within 21 days, it's an admittance of guilt. Plain and simple.
And that's why we're doing this. Continue.
The environmental principles to the conservative government will protect through policies of clean air and climate, clean water and land. Have a nice day.
You just snorted.
I snorted. I'm sorry.
Ellen, what are you like? Okay, first off, for the audience that's
She's
listening,
reading out of their book, I believe. I seriously, I swear to God, she is.
no way.
I'm telling you. Are you Ellen?
You're reading right out of
Okay.
the book, aren't you?
Here's the justice principles. We support our Canadian justice system as defined by the Charter and Constitution, and do not support a parallel justice system, which would contravene our existing rights and freedoms. So how come we can lie in court? The defense lawyers can lie in court. I don't understand that at all.
Wait, but
There
the
you are.
multiple tiered justice system that is now part of the court system.
That's right. Do you like that?
Unbelievable. Unacceptable.
But
Okay,
but
you
we're-
asked me who I sent this to.
Yes.
I sent a letter. I sent that report to everybody. And then on February 2, 23, I sent a letter to all the ministers, Deputy Premier Peter Guthrie, Sonia Savage, Jason Coping, Minister of Health, Minister of Justice, and Minister of Municipal Affairs, and carbon copy to Daniel Smith. And I again outlined all the stuff, got absolutely no response. It's in tab 13 of what I sent you.
Okay.
Okay.
Which for our listeners will go up immediately following the show, probably within 5 minutes.
Sorry, say that again.
I'm just letting our listeners know we're going to put that evidence up about 5 minutes
Okay.
after our show.
Okay, now I'm going to look at, that's the, what did you call it?
Meat?
Red
Potatoes?
Dog? What did you call with the conservative declaration? What did you call it?
Oh, FUBAR.
Yeah, okay. After the poo bomb, now we'll get serious
We love you.
and we'll look at a couple of statutes, legislation that the Smith UCP party is in breach of. This is called the rule of law, not PUBA. All right.
Well,
The
she's come up with a better acronym, folks, just so you know. Okay. Go on.
Okay. And I've put that in number 15 so that you can look at it. It is section 2331 of the Environmental Protection Act and the Water Act, liability of public officials. Do you remember, Kirk?
Oh, yes. Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Yes. And I think, Red Dog, you said that too. Okay, let me read it to you. But I've enclosed it because this is important. Number 15. Where a person who is acting under direction of a minister of the government, an official of the government, the premier, a member of a council or local authority, the chief executive officer or designated officer of a local authority is guilty of an offense and liable for punishment for the offense if the minister, official or designate officer knew or ought reasonably to have known of the circumstances that constituted the commission of the offense.
Wow.
And they had influence. The Rick McIver, head of municipal affairs, Daniel Smith, the premier, the environmental minister, influence or control to prevent its commission. They are liable. And we, Lochend, Rimrock, High River people, we sent letters to everybody. They're liable. The next legislation breached by the Alberta government, and this is huge because this is a $3 billion hit, all by our elected officials. They're called the laws of drainage.
Okay.
I haven't included them because they're copious and I ran out of time, but all these can be found online under CanLEAD database and Alberta Government CA. We have the documentation showing the Alberta government has breached all of these statutes. What does that mean? You take the statute, you take the documentation of us writing to all the ministers, telling them what was happening, and the documents for when the event happened. So this starts back in 1977, and it's called the Alberta Planning Act. Section 8 states, any application for development shall, not may, shall consider any potential for flooding. Let me read that again.
Mm-hmm.
That's all downtown Calgary, right?
Yeah.
That's all downtown Edmonton. When they rebuilt, any application for development shall consider any potential for flooding. Remember the flood of 2013? In breach of the 1977 Planning Act. Next, I reference the Water Act of 2000. A person who provides false or misleading information, data, records, reports, or documents, and or makes a false or misleading statement in response to inquiries under this act is guilty of an offense. That's all the planning people. All downtown Calgary, for God's sakes. All the condos that were built that went underwater in 2013. They didn't quote the Alberta, the 1977 Planning Act. By the way, that's also in the Municipal Governance Act. Next, I'll reference the Alberta Environment Protection Act. Section 2H outlines the responsibility of polluters to pay for all their costs of their actions. Nobody offered me any money. Nobody offered anyone of Lochend any money. Nobody offered anybody of Rimrock Biodigester of the drop in their property values. Once that planning started, Section 1081, listen to this one.
Sorry, excuse me, Helen.
No person shall knowingly release or permit the release of a substance into the environment in an amount, concentration, or level at a rate of release that is in excess, that is expressly provided by approval by Alberta Environment. Well, what about 40 years of 25,000 pounds of manure and 6,000 gallons of urine into a watershed?
What year was this exactly?
The legislation or what happened to me?
No, the High River one. High River
The High River one is
Bio
23,
Digest, right,
24.
it was
23,
94?
24?
2024.
Yeah.
Then that's after they flooded, or the High River was flooded. What year was that?
14 or something.
14, that's 10 years.
Right. Okay, you ready for the big one?
Oh,
No,
don't even. You can't surprise us. Go on.
not anymore.
Yes, I can. Because this is bloody huge. You won't even believe what this one is all about. Okay, it is called the Canada-Alberta Flood Damage Reduction Agreement. It was signed by all the big wigs in Alberta and the Canadian federal government, June 13, 1989. We found it in the archives up in Edmonton. It was document 94. I've only put the first page in the documents that I've given to you. All they have to do is go, if they really want it, they can call me, or they can go to the Alberta, you can phone them, archives, and ask for document 94, state what it is and the year. This is a huge document. And here's what it says in section 2.8, amongst all sorts of things. Alberta shall, not may, ensure that its departments, development, environmental protection agency, and agencies do not engage in any further undertakings that are vulnerable to flood damage, are to be located in the designated or interim designated areas. And in this report are pages of land description designations, all downtown Calgary, all downtown Edmonton, all downtown Medicine Hat, all land descriptions. You know, the 12 codes, they're all there.
Mhm.
So what happened for the 2013 flood? All Alberta authorities from 1989 ignored this agreement. They just developed land wherever they wanted to. And we note for the breach of law by the Alberta government, the Alberta Municipal Governance Act, Planning Act, and the 1989 Canada-Alberta Flood Damage Agreement, if they had been adhered to by the Alberta government officials, perhaps the 2013 flood would not have been so severe. That cost all of us $13 billion to fix. Plus, all of our insurance rates went up because our government officials ignored the law.
Did that flood just hit Calgary, High River area? Did Edmonton get nailed too?
Canmore
Canmore.
went underwater. Bragg Creek went underwater.
That's our tax dollars that paid for the fixing of that, and insurance dollars.
Have a nice day. Everyone's insurance rates went up. I'm an insurance broker, by the way, because the reinsurance industry went, oh my God. And all of Canadian insurance rates went up. Every one of them. Just look at your statements from 2012, 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
Never mind the $3 billion, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Before I get to the Criminal Code of Canada, because that talks about criminality, I want to just reference the Walkerton report. It's all found online. It's 2 binders. It's huge. It goes through what happened, which is exactly what happened on my property. The big binder is preventative. It was written by Dr. Justice O'Connor. I met with the guy in Toronto. He was brilliant. I actually got to meet with the technical team for Walkerton out of the University of Waterloo. That was a phenomenal trip that I had. In its section 2, preventative measures for contamination of drinking water. lists a whole, I don't know, 20 of them. Alberta Environment has ignored all the Walkerton directives for all feedlots in Alberta, for all drainage and flooding. 2013 flood, there was huge amount of contamination. For our issue, of course, of contamination and drainage, the lock-in oil and gas play, because that was also contaminating the water tables for all the ranchers due to the fracking. The Rimrock Biodigester Project in High River, and that's just to name only a few. If you get Jessica Ernst on here about what happened in Rosebud, it goes on and on and on. Have a nice day. Okay, the big one, if that isn't enough. The Criminal Code of Canada. What does that say? This was first brought to me by one of my experts who was a lawyer for 20 years, who walked away from the bar because he was doing all sorts of environmental, etc. cases, and he couldn't stand what was going on in the courts. And so what he did was he took the Criminal Code of Canada and did a tour across Canada on willful blindness to all of the lawyers that he could get in front of in Canada. Section 217 of the Criminal Code of Canada states, and by the way, it's in section 15 of the documentation I gave you.
Okay.
That's important. Everyone who undertakes to do an act, everyone who undertakes to do an act is under a legal duty to do it if an omission to the act is or may be dangerous to life. All you do is bring the environmental reports, your medical reports in of what they did. We went to a environmental medical specialist up at the University of Alberta. He did blood tests on us over a 5-month period after we had left the property, tracking the enzymes in our liver. And noticed that after we were off the property, the high counts of enzymes in our liver started to come down to normal because we weren't exposed to all the contamination on the property. Primarily nitrates. Nitrates in our well from the manure was over 15. Standardized acceptability for Alberta is 3.
Holy smokes.
And we had 15.
Wow.
Okay. Section 17(1), everyone who undertakes or has authority to direct how another person does or performs a task. The Premier, the head of Alberta Environment, Alberta Health, which don't know how to test water, the head of the municipal Department of Municipality, Rick McIver, is under a legal duty to take the responsible steps to prevent bodily harm to that person or any other person arising from that work or task. Our government is criminally liable for everything it's doing environmentally.
And of course, they're giving each other the get out of jail free card.
That's right.
Of course.
And that's where we, as a community, the value of sharing all this information is it doesn't stop. This is not a one-time, the show just happened, it's not a big deal. The truth of the matter is that this is happening throughout our province. And the reason why this media that we're releasing today, which is in effect, is there are stories elsewhere. If you're one of our listeners and you've got stories like this, similar, even if you want to rebut Ellen, reach out to us, click us on the contact us link, send us off an email. We'll get you on the air and we can have a discussion. But remember this, she's putting her evidence, we're putting her evidence online 5 minutes after our show's finished. But we've got to do this in order to have the truth going out. It can't just be a story in a local newspaper that's going to impact so many people. This is not your grass got too tall. This is people's lives. And as Albertans, neighbors, we have a responsibility to stand up and say, this isn't right. Anyway, sorry, Ellen. Next.
I hear. Listen, I've been doing this for 15 years. And then when I put this together, plus the report that I sent to them in November, I thought I'd be sick because I couldn't believe it. You connect the dots of everything that's going on. Follow the money. That's why. And I repeat, the Smith UCBC government, all the ministers, have been informed in multiple letters and reports of the criminal actions they are involved in for non-compliance to environmental and drainage law. And they've done nothing about it.
Well, we'll invite the ministers that are named in this evidence or these reports. One of the things that we have where we're going to try on our station is to keep bringing forward solutions.
Yes, I have them.
What
I
have you
want to
got
do
for us?
one. I want to do a couple of more things, but then I've got some solutions that we can discuss.
Okay.
Okay. You put up on the header that I had found, not only had I connected the dots, but I had found election interference by the UCP. So I'm going to give you some. How do they keep in power? How does the UCP Smith government keep these criminal actions going?
Well, that's because nobody knows about them.
Thank you.
And that's why you're here, and that's why we're here. We need to inform the people of everything that's going on, because all they see is Daniel Smith's smiling face on TV, preaching something, and the people think it's good. They don't see what's going on in the background. We're here to let them know what's going on in the background.
Well, you're absolutely right. However, there's been some major interference, and I'm going to give it to you.
Okay.
The first is I'm going to start with, if I may, I'll start with an article from the Canadian Encyclopedia, number 17 of my documents. In a paragraph on defections, right, I think it's around page 5 of 6. It's a paragraph. The article describing the crossing of the floor, just a second. By Daniel Smith on December 17, 2014, to stand beside Jim Prentice of the PC Party was one of the most stunning political betrayals in Canadian history. In that action, Daniel Smith helped destroy the Wild Rose Party, a grassroots party that thousands of Albertans had worked so hard to elect. The backlash was so intense that the MDP swept into power in 2015 election, all but destroying the PC in Alberta. Next, and we consider this election interference, and I'll tell you why. The RCMP refused to lay charges against the politicians for criminal negligence for contaminated water in our public watershed. The RCMP had 2 years of meeting with me and boxes of evidence proving criminal negligence by several politicians and bureaucrats who refused to take any action. The RCMP shut down the file in 2023 as the provincial election was coming. That's exactly like withholding the Biden laptop in the 2020 election.
That's a good analogy.
Mm-hmm.
If they delayed charges with all the stuff that I've got, can you imagine what would have happened? Next, I referenced the inappropriate charging of Casey Madu with a ticket for using his cell phone in a school zone in order to get rid of them. There were no phone records. Why'd they do that? Get rid of him because he put forward a bill to help fire politicians and go after, to do audits on the regulatories. Next, I reference the removal of Peter Guthrie and Scott Sinclair from the UCP caucus, just because they questioned the budgetary issues. What's going to
Well-
happen to them?
Well, we'll make it nice and easy. If Peter Guthrie wants to reach out to us, we got something for him, just so he knows.
I know he's listening tonight, by the way.
Oh,
Awesome.
Mr. Guthrie, if you would be so kind, hit the contact us, send us an email. You know how it works, or even reply to the email I sent you earlier today,
Mhm.
because we got a surprise for you. Anyways, continue, please, Ellen. I think we're running out
October
of time here. Oh my
24.
Lord. Okay, sorry.
October
going.
24, the UCP AGM, Smith's leadership campaign manager, Matthew Anthem, boasts that they will flood the AGM with Muslims. What's that all about? Document 18, article, Western Standard, Jonathan Bradley, October 21, 2024. And then I reference the Chestermere mayor and 3 councillors that refused their request to have the books reviewed by the Municipal Affairs Rick McIver. Instead, McIver fired them with false charges. They entered the by-election in Chestermere for their vacant seats, but their reputations were so battered, and they were publicly served with a falsified lawsuit during the process, and they were not elected. There are allegations of further election tampering that should come to light in the future. Next, I want to quickly touch on Bill 20, and I'll give you the reason why. Bill 20 used to say, minister can only remove a sitting councillor through the municipal inspection process and only under very specific circumstances. Rick McIver amended this bill. Every member of the UCP caucus, and it states, to allow cabinet to remove a councillor by ordering a vote of the electors to determine whether the council should be removed. What? That says they can do it any way they want at any time. Who in their right mind, knowing what I have just said, and I know there's more, I've only got a few of them, with any integrity, would run for a municipal office with this bill in place, never mind run for an office within the provincial government because of the PCs, because if you say anything, you're voted out of caucus.
Mhm.
God help me. And finally, we wrote to all the presidents of the 87 UCP riding associations.
Oh,
We-
I know this one. This one's great. Audience, brace yourself. I'm excited about this one.
We outlined all the illegal practices of the Smith UCP government. Only 3 presidents responded.
Wow.
84 did not.
Wow.
Why not? Why did they remain silent? Were they frightened? Were they told not to say, hey, Ellen, let's have a cup of coffee. Come on up and meet our association members. Bring your documentation. Let's see what we can do working with our MLA. Nothing. 2 of them called me terrible, the most unbelievable names.
Oh my God.
Document 19 and what I've given you, I gave you the email that I sent to all the riding association presidents. So you'll see that I'm not just speaking out of turn. Okay. Finally, let's go to solutions. Can we fix this? What do you think, Kirk?
Oh, we can. And that's what our goal is.
Yep.
But just from a simplest standpoint, either you did your job, which means you can keep your job and you should stay, or you didn't do your job, which means you should go.
You need to go somewhere else and work.
And from a go perspective, you can do it one of several ways. One is to go nicely into the twilight quickly on your own. The other one is to go quickly into the twilight because we told you to, but do do not make us do that, because the investigation that's going to chase you may have criminal charges. Assault,
Oh, it will have criminal charges.
like because it's either right or wrong.
That's right.
Anyways, but go on. Sorry, Ellen.
Please don't be sorry, because that's what we need to get out to the public. Because the first thing I have to say in the solutions is, Albertans, wake up. This is serious. We're living in a totalitarian situation.
Yes.
We don't even have courts or law enforcement. Without courts and law enforcement, we have no society. Anybody can do anything to us at any time. And that's what's happening. Number one, get educated and get involved. I know you guys are going to do that. That's where you're coming from. Start local support and information groups in preparation to connect with other local groups to share information. These groups are springing up all over Alberta. I know of some in Medicine Hat, Lethbridge, because they've contacted me. Write and meet with your local MLA.
Mm-hmm.
Don't stop with political platitudes. Insist on getting him, he, she, it in front of you. What are you doing?
I know which one you're talking about too.
For all the MLAs listening to this show, and I know you reached out to them,
Mm-hmm.
please answer the following question. Why aren't you representing your constituents? What are you doing? Why is it that only 2 of you stood up and said, we want a full audit of the procurement practices for Alberta Health? And they were voted out of caucus and nobody else said anything.
2 out of how many? How many is there in total?
56.
And there's 2 stood up and said something. That means 54 of these people need to be changed out, switched out immediately.
Sat on their hands.
Yeah. Ellen, we do have to wrap it up. Do you have any closing things?
Closing argument, closing
Statements?
Yeah, I do. I'm praying that Albertans get started. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm taking this out of province. There's a fabulous guy, and I said this in the last podcast, a South African that got to the United States to say that his country is captured. I'm doing this video movie, the same as what was done for Joanne Pearson of Coots, the woman who taped the RCMP of 5 hours in her home as they discussed how they would be hiding weapons in the truckers' convoy. We'll get this information out of Alberta to Ontario, Quebec, and the USA, right?
Yeah.
Where the UCP are looking to partner with. The environmentalists in Ontario and Quebec, who I'm already in contact with, they won't want to hear this. They want the energy, but they also want environmental accountability. When the Walkerton report was published in 2004, Ontario changed all of its drainage and environmental stuff, and they are adhering to it. The USA is deep in process of eliminating this kind of criminal activity and waste out of its government. Fiscal misappropriation of funds is huge for them. And finally, start reaching out and or start coordinating alternate government parties. The electorate are terrified of the NDP. So what will they do? They'll vote UCP blindly.
And we will have answers for that.
Yep.
But sadly, we have to wrap things up today. Ellen, we want to say thank you very much.
I want to bring her back too.
We'd like, you don't want to ask her to come back next week.
Yeah, let's ask her to come back next week.
No, I don't want to, because she made jokes like all the yuck stuff.
Yeah, but it was funny.
It was funny. Okay, so Ellen, if we asked you to come back next week, could you?
We'll talk off camera.
Awesome.
All righty.
The 3 of us, because I want to be productive and helpful, and I am offering to help you in any way you need, and I will do that.
Awesome.
That
Becky.
is fantastic. From our listeners,
We love you.
we know for a fact that they appreciated this conversation.
Mhm.
I'm sorry it was so long.
Oh, once we got the audio thing sorted out, which will be better for next time,
Yeah,
we're on a roll. It's been awesome.
it's been awesome. You've been the best. You've been wonderful.
But we're gonna cut by.
What's that?
Did we get cut off, Jay?
I'm still here.
We're here? Okay. But we do have to
Good
say
night,
goodbye.
everyone. And thank you, Kirk and Red Dog, for having me on the show.
You're welcome. We love you.
Thanks, Ellen. Appreciate it.
Take care of yourself.
Have a good night. Well, Jason's going to take care of that. We're going to kill this. Jason, with a nod, can I kill the volume on the video? We're going to go right to a musical outro. Okay, well, let's do an outro.
Okay.
Well, I'm Kirk,
And I'm Red Dog.
and we're going to be done for today, but we'll be back next week. And we've got some more exciting stuff coming. Just so that you know, this is just the start. We have lots to tell you about. Stay tuned. Remember to like.
We have many more special guests coming in.
Oh, yes, this is going to just keep going. But we're going to have everybody on. This is supposed to be truth. So we give everybody their chance to provide
And
the
open.
evidence and open. We're supposed to remind you when you get a second to send those little hearts and emojis or whatever it is they're supposed to go through. Isn't that right, Jason?
So to support the show, shut off my fan. To support the show, you can send stars, or you can, whatever way you feel you want to donate or anything like that. We are going to have a membership set up soon, so we'll be promoting.
And you guys can get all of the donation and financial stuff from the Contact Us link on hheradio.com.
Yeah.
But this is just a start, folks. Without Truth Media coming out, there is going to be no truthful source of information. And we're just going to keep hammering it out all the time.
We
Follow
did pretty
us
good
on-
tonight. First show, guys. 181
Awesome, yeah.
viewers.
Yeah,
And what are we supposed to say? We're supposed to say follow us on share, and follow on hheradio.com and the Facebook.
Facebook, X, and YouTube for now, and Instagram. We're going to be on all platforms by the end of the week.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Folks,
You're the man, Jason.
from Red, Kirk, good night. And of course, our magical producer, Jay. We're out of here. Have a good night.
Cheers,
I love
guys.
you.